How are you?
Hello, how are you?
Doing good, doing good. Laura and I, we're back.
We are back together, yes.
So here's our show for Saturday or whatever day it is you're listening to it. Because we are also on a radio station where this day may be different. But this is going on daily. Every day we come on here. We tell you something fun and exciting, different,
Exactly.
some
We
kind of
entertain
knowledge.
you and
Yeah. Maybe there's something that we can say to you that you did not know.
that's the
And
hope.
that would be good, you know? So I'm Lana Williams. This is Laura. Go ahead, Laura. Talk to us. Tell us how your day is going, your week has
I'm Laura
been.
Schiller. My day so far is going great. Can't complain. Woke
Good.
up a few hours ago and ready to go and excited to be here.
That's
How's your day
awesome.
going?
Good so far. I got my coffee together.
Me too.
That's all I could do. So I can only say that. I'm not done much else. And I walked to the kitchen, got my coffee, sat down.
That's the most important step of the day. So
It
in my
is.
mind, you won. So you're good.
I mean, it can all only go up from here, I think. I hope so.
Exactly.
Let's hope that next week we don't find out that it went differently, but I'm hoping it can only go up. So yeah, Laura and I are here to entertain you today. I've got to say a couple thank yous. I want to thank WDJY for having us on. We are on WDJY Wednesday 9 to 10, Thursday 5 to 6. This is PM, sorry, 9 to 10 p.m., Thursday 5 to 6 p.m., Friday 10 to 11 a.m., Sunday 1 to 3 p.m. right now, which is pretty cool. So that's the Atlanta area. And anybody who's streaming on that radio station, of course. And then we've got to thank Mace Fitness and Soulspectives and just to Institute. This is like a tongue twister for me. I saw this last week. I listened to our show and I saw it last week and I'm like, why can't I say that? Mace Fitness and Soulspectives Institute for sponsoring us. And so I'm going to go right into it and we're going to have Laura just give us our first topic, which looks like it's summer adventure mishaps. Ooh.
Absolutely. So this week is Summer Destinations Week, and I was researching what could happen during summer adventures, and I've had interesting mishaps myself. And one of the stories that I came across, the second story, something similar actually happened to me.
Oh, wow.
Because things happen to me, and people always tell me I should write a book about things that happen to me because crazy things always happen to me.
I think
so I'm going to tell two crazy mishaps, and then the second one I will tell what happened with me that's actually very similar. Fortunately, the first one did not happen to me, which would be a lot worse. So I'm just going to dive into the first one because I am so thankful this did not happen to me, and I feel so bad for this poor boy. But a 16-year-old boy named Toby was with his family at this beautiful family resort. And I felt like this when I was a teenager, but all he wanted to do was make friends at the resort. You know, you're there with your family and sometimes you just want to make friends. And he was eyeing this group of teenagers, especially in the wave pool, that he really wanted to become friends with. And so he decided to show off. And there was this huge slide that just goes straight down. It was called Free Fall. And I know there was a ride Free Fall actually at Rocky Point and Great Adventure that
it's different though.
That was an actual ride. This is a free fall water ride where I don't know if you've ever seen it. And it goes
no, I don't think so.
Down.
But, well, maybe. Yes. Yep.
And then there's like a little sliding pad for you to go down afterwards. So he decides that he's going to show off and go down the slide, and nobody was going down the slide because it was so vertically scary. And I've been down the slide and it is very scary. I've been down it in Great Adventure at the water park. I don't know if this is scarier or not, but it sounds scary. And when you go down, obviously he goes down and he puts his hands as he's supposed to. He goes down. It's 40 miles per hour. You were going down. And I remember from going in the slide, the water kind of gets all over your face and you have no idea what you're doing. So he was one of the first of the day to go down the slide.
Yeah.
He's super excited. He goes down, and where you go down, there's actually a ton of the resort viewers are there sunbathing where he goes down. It's actually bleachers. So he's coming down, he goes down, he comes up, and everyone starts clapping. So he thinks that they're all so excited that he did this. He gets up and he gives like the biggest wave of his life. He says it says to over 200 people, and everyone's waving, clapping, excited. And then all of a sudden, he realized that people are actually, it sounds more like laughter than clapping. You know,
Oh,
but the water must be coming out of
Ron.
his ears.
Yeah.
And he
Oops.
is starting to realize that that might not be the sound of clapping. That might be more laughter. But he's still screaming and he's not sure and so excited that so many people are clapping for him. But then the poor 16-year-old spots his mother, who points straight to his legs. And of course, the poor kid went down the slide and his pants fell off and he got up and he just waved to 200 people completely naked.
Oh, wow.
And he
Okay.
nobody had he had no idea, and the poor guy had to stand there and his shorts weren't to be found, and the lifeguard had to go find him and take it back to him, but it's 6 inches, like the water is very shallow and you couldn't go anywhere, and it was just a mess. And that is a huge mishap that I would hope would never happen to me or any of my kids or anyone I know in the world, but that was the biggest mishap that I saw and I
Wow.
would talk about.
Well, I will say we had a water slide at Rocky Point, and a lot of girls had bikini tops, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yes.
That didn't go right for some of us.
Yes, and
all that splashing of water removes the clothing. That does happen. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, that did happen. Sometimes it's like,
yes, absolutely.
But as kids, though, that's pretty dramatic, I think.
Yes, especially to wave to 200 people and naked. But
hi,
poor guy.
Yeah.
The next one is more of a not as embarrassing. Well, it could be pretty embarrassing as well, but not as embarrassing. And this is something that happened to me, or I learned something the hard way. Mm-hmm. So a couple in Bali was vacationing there and during the summer, and they fell in love with the hotel and boutique shopping. And they fell in love, the wife in particular, fell in love with this absolutely beautiful wood table. And you know how some people get on vacation. I am not like this, but I've been with friends on vacation where they see something and they have to get it. So
no, this is not me, but I do know people like this. Yeah.
Yes, it's not me either. If I see something that would not fit in my suitcase, I usually am not the one to get it. But that was not the case in this situation. The wife said, "We are getting this. It doesn't matter." And we're going to get it home. And so I said, "Don't worry, we ship to the US." And the wife is like, "Fabulous that you ship to the US." Of course, the price of shipping to the US of the table was 3 times the price of the table.
Of course.
The husband correctly said, "We are not shipping this home." But he didn't say we are not getting it. He just said we are not shipping this home. Yeah. So he decided they are going to deconstruct the table, buy a duffel bag, deconstruct the table, bubble wrap it.
Oh my God.
And put it in oversized.
Oh my goodness.
Carry on.
This can go so many ways.
It's so bad, right? So they're on this fancy trip. And the last night of their fancy trip, they're busy bubble wrapping this. They get it all into the duffel bag somehow. They go to security the next morning, and security says, "That's nice that you got it into this oversized baggage, but there's actually a limit on the weight that you could put into an airplane. It doesn't matter. You can't pay your way out of this."
Yeah.
It's just there's a maximum amount that you could fit on, and it was 35 pounds extra. And so they said, they're like, "You cannot go on this." But he was still determined, and he wasn't going to pay those shipping prices. So he deconstructed the table in the middle of an international airport. He took out his oversized baggage. He took off the legs of the table, the 4 legs of the table. He put 2 in his backpack. He put 1 in his wife's backpack and 1 in his teenager's backpack. And all of a sudden, this weighed the right amount. They were able to get through. But when they were getting through security, then the security stopped him because they thought it was weapons. And they looked him right in the face.
Are they still at the airport now? Are they still there today?
They must be, right? So it just kept going on. And they finally did get through security. They had to explain the whole entire story that they were just trying to save on shipping, and that's why they had 2 looking weapons with them.
Goodness.
And they finally did get through security, and they did get home with the table. And I'd say maybe they learned their lesson, but I wonder if next time they would do the same exact thing, because they did save money on shipping. But what I learned when I was coming home from Australia, I learned this because I was abroad in Australia for 6 months, as I'm going to talk about later. But on the way home, my bags were too big, and it was 11 o'clock at night. And they said, I need to buy luggage. And I said, I can't buy luggage. So they said, I need to store my stuff in Australia.
Right.
And I was like, I can't store my stuff in Australia. I'm not coming back here for many years, which is true. I still haven't been back 20 years later. And so what they did was they gave me garbage bags. And I took stuff out of my suitcases and stuffed them with garbage bags. So I think this is just as bad as the table.
Yeah.
So when I got to America, not only did my suitcases start coming out, but then all of a sudden garbage bags that said my name on it started coming out, and I had to pull off, my dad and I had to pull off garbage bags off.
And be like, hi, no, we're not homeless. Wow.
It literally was one of those moments where, And I did the same thing as them. I was in an international airport taking clothes out of my suitcases. And so that was quite the summer mishap, but it happened. And I got home, and all my clothes got home, and they're not in Australia. And that couple got the table home. So
they probably didn't learn anything. They're probably just going to do it again. Or
exactly.
I don't know. I just...
the whole day of
I think the only thing we've ever been on like vacation and wanted to bring back was bottles of liquor, of course, right?
Yeah.
There's the tax. But and that usually doesn't go very well. But yeah, that's the only thing I could think of where we're like, oh my goodness, like how much of this could we get? Because we know we don't have to pay the taxes on it. But of course you can't take that stuff through the airport, at least not easily.
Yeah, exactly.
But wow. So summer mishaps, that's crazy. But
those are some summer mishaps I saw. There was a lot, and it was fun to read them all. But those 2 made me laugh the most. So
that is funny. So we have to, for 2 seconds, I just want to give you guys an idea what our social media promo is, so that you know where we are all over the internet. So here's our social media. We'll be right back with you.
Watch us live at YouTube, Rumble, and Twitch at Rhode Island Broadcasting, X and Twitter at Broadcasting RI, Facebook at Going On Daily Morning Show. Listen to us on all of our audio platforms such as Spotify, Red Circle, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and Amazon Music at RI Broadcasting. You can also follow us on all of our socials at MeWe, TikTok, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Gab, Parler, and Space Hey at RI Broadcasting, and Reddit at RI-Broadcasting, and support the show on RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net. We thank you for listening, following, and watching.
And if you go in on Reddit, maybe we'll all be in there. You could chat with us. You never know.
Absolutely.
Get in there and do some threads. So this QR code between me and Laura here, you click on that, and right now we've got a Hall of Fame that's going on, and you need to vote for your favorite show. So this is, let me see here, I believe most of these are going to be 70s, but Sanford and Son, Good Times, The Jeffersons, Different Strokes, or What's Happening. You have to vote for one of those. Let us know which one of those you want, or just vote for it to see whether it wins at the end of the month. It's also on RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net. If you go there, you could see not only this, but what we have already had votes on in the past and all of our winners and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm not sure which one of these I would choose. I may or may not already have voted. So I don't know where we're at now. Is it Good Times and the Jeffersons still? Okay, so Good Times is at 56%. And I think the Jeffersons, the last I knew, was right behind that, but that was a week ago. So, but yeah, it's not going to be easy to pick one of these shows. Let me be honest with you. I mean, if you've seen all of them, or if you watched them as a kid, which I did, I'm old enough that I watched these shows when they were actually on TV. So if you haven't watched these in some kind of retro channel, but if you have, I don't know which one you would choose that would be the best, because these
Yeah,
are
it's
all
awesome.
really good. So I would have to say, for me, I probably would have to say the Jeffersons comes out in front for me because that's just my favorite show.
I love
But they're
Different
so,
Strokes, but that
yeah,
was my favorite when I was growing up was Different Strokes of those, but all good
yeah,
ones.
they're really good. So Jeffersons at 41%. So hey, I need my Jeffersons people to get in there and get some votes because that's what I think that's what I want to go ahead and root for. See if the Jeffersons can pull it out and win
Okay, let's see.
before July. So we got a little bit of time left. We got almost half a month left of voting to go. So it could go anywhere. It could go
Absolutely.
anywhere. So my topic today, because we're wrapping up summer destinations, living in Rhode Island, we're the place that kind of we've got a lot of destinations that people come up to in the summer seasons, at least in the U.S. We've got a lot of people that come in from out of state, and they've got their whatever their second homes. And that kind of thing, much like the Hamptons. We have a little bit of an area like that. We have a couple areas like that. But as kids, I had this amusement park that we used to go to, which was really close to us. It's so much different now, and so many, like probably in the country, there's been so many little amusement parks like this that went, by the wayside because of all these Six Flags places and things like that that came along, and I think even with Disney and all that kind of stuff. A lot of us miss Rocky Point, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to give you the history of Rocky Point. Rocky Point has been gone now since the mid '90s, but it was a childhood destination for a lot of us as kids, and it has a long history. And if you get a chance, there is a YouTube documentary called "You Must Be This Tall." If you get a chance, write it down and go look it up. It's an actual documentary with the history of Rocky Point and the visuals of everything, how it started, how it became an amusement park, but how it started, way back in the 1800s and all that kind of stuff. But here's a short version of that for you guys. So for more than a century, it was one of the premier amusement destinations in New England. So there was a point in time where people had to drive or horse and buggy their way across the country. And it wasn't as easy to get to places. So this was something that you would do, most people would do, with some kind of a week-long what have you, because it was, there was even a point where people couldn't drive even within the state, But anyway, generations of our Rhode Islanders grew up going there for the rides, concerts, seafood, family outings, right? So before we had an amusement park, it sits on a peninsula. It's extending into the Narragansett Bay. If you get a chance to look at a map up close and you look at Rocky Point, it still is on the map because it's still a state park. But you can go ahead and Google Rocky Point. You'll find all kinds of stuff. During the 1800s, much of the Rhode Island coast was becoming a destination for recreation as urban residents sought escapes from industrial cities. And you have to remember, there was a point in time where nobody could get air conditioning. It was like, let's go to the beach, let's get to the water. So it was pretty simple. It was pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Picturesque. It was a good place to go for picnics and things like that. So there's beautiful bay views. There's sea breezes out there. You could get there by boat, which was kind of at one point a major form of transportation for us up here. Proximity to Providence, of course, and other Rhode Island communities in Providence was pretty big as well. As a city for I don't know how many years, it was also a pretty good place for most people to go for whatever they needed. So this was real close to that. 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Rocky Point's recreational history dates back to the mid-19th century. And excursion steamers, which is these old boats, they brought visitors from Providence and elsewhere for picnics, swimming, dancing, and shore outings. That's pretty much how it started. And before it became an amusement park in the modern sense, it functioned more like kind of a seaside resort. And a gathering place, right? So people came there for their day trips, their clam bakes, their social events, dance halls, and family recreation, a place where everybody could just kind of get together, relax, eat, whatever they wanted to do, and socialize. So transportation was crucial in an era before widespread automobile ownership. Seaboats made the site accessible. So it became an amusement park across in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, right? Rocky Point evolved with the time. So over the decades, it added some mechanical rides, some midway attractions, some roller coasters, games, and entertainment venues. And then it became Rhode Island's answer to the great like regional amusement park thing that went on in the Northeast, because there was a point in time where that became kind of a boom or a trend, for kids. So for many families, a summer trip to Rocky Point became like an annual tradition. And it was for us. I mean, obviously we didn't go there because we were very close by, so we didn't have to be, make a trip there and be there for like days. But it was an all-day thing. We would be out of there, get there very early in the morning, and we'd be there all day long, and come back at the end of the day, and we would all collapse. You know what I mean, kind of thing. Yeah, Candy Lake, Six Flags. Six Flags is really kind of what came afterwards. Although maybe in the closest Six Flags for us is in Springfield, Massachusetts, or Agawam, Massachusetts. And it was probably a smaller thing at one time, because Six Flags has been around for years, and it kind of developed over time. And it became like this super park that was a lot more, exciting, I guess, than what we had. And in Candy Lake Park, I think is still that's still there, I believe, as far as I know. That has not left. Rocky Point, though, is gone, sadly. So the golden age of Rocky Point was 1940s to the 1970s, right? So this is the era that we all remember, or most of us remember as kids. The park had major thrill rides. It had kiddie rides. It had an arcade. It had live entertainment, which, I don't know, almost every band you can imagine and every person you can imagine came through and performed at Rocky Point, which is a big thing. A lot of people, I saw them at Rocky Point. We had the Windjammer and a couple of places like that where these people would come in and perform to, like, I don't know how many people. And we also had the Shore Dinner Hall, which you may or may not have read about. And the Shore Dinner Hall was amazing. It was this huge lines of tables. If you ever see a picture of it, these like, I don't know, 50, I don't know how many yards these tables would go. And they had this tradition where the guys that would work there would come in. They'd know how to roll the tablecloth up and set up the next, like, there was this whole, it was almost like it was very assembly line-ish, but they got it done because they had to feed, I don't know how many people. And they had usually watermelon. They usually had clam cakes, chowder, corn on the cob, that kind of thing. A lobster. That was the kind of stuff you would eat there. You'd sit down, you'd have your meal, and you'd either go back to the park or you would eat there at the end of the day. So a lot of people there for lunch, obviously, and dinner, but you would usually eat there like once the day was kind of wrapping up, and then you would take your leftovers and go home, and it would be this great day. It was also hosting major entertainers over the decades. And I'm not sure if I don't have a list of, anybody you can imagine from the 40s to the 70s or even the 80s. I actually saw bands in the 90s there,
So fun.
Anybody that you could think of that would come through town. That was like a major part or major stop on most people's tours. So not huge arena type shows, but pretty big shows because it was a huge venue. And so the rides were like, they had legendary status. We had the corkscrew roller coaster. That was one of our last rides that came in, and that was a big deal for us. And it became a symbol of the park. If you've ever seen a commercial, they pretty much showing you the corkscrew through most of it. And we had the free fall ride, which you had mentioned earlier about a free fall. This was more of something you sat on and it would drop. It was just...
Six Flags had that. It was
literally
intense.
just like it was almost like a thing where you would drive. I can't explain it, but it would be adrenaline, related. We had the flume. The flume was a big thing, and it was you get on the ride and go, and it was like what we would call a water slide type, or not water slide, but it was a water ride.
They say you may get wet and then you get soaked. That's what happens.
Oh yeah, that thing, you would get soaked. Everybody on the ground would get soaked. People running like everybody. It's like if you're gonna go on the flume, you had to dress for it because.
On Universal, I just wore a poncho because they told me I was going to get soaking wet, but it didn't cover my jeans.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because you're sitting in water.
So my jeans were still soaking wet, and I had to walk around Universal for 2 hours with soaking wet jeans, and nobody else in my family got wet. But I
think it's in Florida. Depending on the day, you drive pretty quick because Florida's hot. Depending on what time of the year it is, but yeah, this would be like a ride that actually sat in water. So there would be water all around you. It was like, kind of like you were in a pool. And when you came down, the water would splash back.
Okay.
So it didn't matter. You were just going to get head to toe splashed. Why? Lilac is asking why it closed. I'm going to tell you really quick. The regional amusement parks faced increasing competition. They had several factors that hurt Rocky Point. Aging infrastructure. They had to keep it up, and it was expensive. Rising maintenance costs. Competition from larger parks. And people changing vacation habits. Like, right, in financial difficulties. Also, a couple of times this park was wiped out by hurricanes. If you ever get a chance to see it, I think twice we had hurricanes because it's on the water that literally dropped rides and took stuff out because it was so close to the shore that the damage was always, the both times that we had hurricanes, it got real bad. And they had to really rebuild things almost from scratch, especially in 38. I think 38 was pretty much the worst one. And after years of financial problems, they closed in 1995. For Rhode Islanders, the closure felt like the end of an era. There was a whole auction thing that went on. It was really sad to watch. People had childhood memories they tied to the park, and there was a widespread sadness about it. There was also a pool, I forgot to say, there was a saltwater pool that closed before I got there. And it literally had like tanks and this whole pumping system, and it was not far from the beach, but it was literally a saltwater pool. And it had a high dive on it and all that kind of stuff. And older residents of Rhode Island can tell you that they went there and they were there all day. It's just like their thing to do in the summer. So there was a fight to save the land after they closed and all the rides were taken out. And there was a debate about the future of it. And what they ended up doing was they made it into a Rocky Point State Park, right? The visitors can enjoy walking paths. There's bay views, there's fishing, there's picnicking. There's an open green space. And they do a lot of stuff there. They do movies there in the summer. They do marathons out there. They do all kinds of things like that, recreational stuff. So, it's still there, and it's still beautiful. They took most of the rides out. There's some remnants in there. Most of the rides are gone. Traces, there's like you've got your big arch out there. If you ever look at pictures of Rocky Point, the arch, the one from the World State Fair that they brought over there, that's still there. But anyway, that's why it matters. It's a big deal for us. So if you play the commercial, which I have, if you follow me on Facebook, I post a lot of old, nostalgic commercials and stuff. And I have recently posted the Rocky Point commercial, and most people are just like, "Oh my God," when they hear it. But yeah, it's amazing. For living here, it's an amazing legacy. And for people who were in New England in general, you're going to have history on that. So anyway, that's my story on Rocky Point.
I loved hearing you. You could see your passion about it. It was cute to see your nostalgia about it and see.
And just so you know, there was a ride called the Music Express, and I actually got my finger jammed in one of those. They actually locked the thing down, and I think my pinky finger when I was a kid went right in there. So there's my mishap from Rocky Point. But
that hurts.
Yeah. So real quick, we don't want to run too long on this, and we have me yapping forever, but we want to run our ads and pay some bills. Here are our sponsors. We'll be right back.
Looking for a fitness app that actually fits in your life, not the other way around? The Mace Fitness app is your personal fitness coach in your pocket. That's MASE. Mace Fitness app makes fitness simple and affordable. The build your own workout option allows you to choose the exercises, the focus area, and the pace that works best for you. This app feature is only $9 a month. You'll get over 630 guided exercise videos, build your own workout tools, strength, mobility, balance, and flexibility training, easy to follow instructions, fitness anytime, anywhere. Mace Fitness, just $9 a month.
All right, so there we go. Like I said last week, that's your inside, you're working on your outside and your inside, all there in 1 minute.
Absolutely.
Or 1 30-second spot. That'll tell you, it takes care of you. You'll be all set.
Absolutely.
For your summer, So we're going to talk to you next about, we've got, let me see here. I have a note here that says, Australia. That's right. You were going to tell us about Australia.
We are going.
We're flipping over here. What's going on?
Flipping back and forth. I don't know what's going on. It's like Australia. It's all flipped over. Like they were doing Australia, and their summer is our winter. Their winter is our summer. It's all flipped over back there. So that's why we're back.
That's why. Yep. That's exactly.
It was planned.
Very clever.
So I studied abroad in Australia when I was in college, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. And I could talk about Australia all day, but since we're talking about summer destinations, I'm going to talk about why Australia is actually a great place to visit in the summer, even though most people actually visit the big busy in to February, because that's when the Australian Open is, and that's when it's really hot there in Sydney, and there's the New Year's Eve on Sydney Harbor. It's very big. So the biggest season is December through February, but I went to Australia in the summer, and through the winter. And I thought it was absolutely amazing when I got there. And I think it's a great time to go as well. It's cheaper because it's the off season to start. So we'll just start with that. But I'm going to go through various places and why it's almost better to go during the summer than to go during the winter, even though people think that it's the opposite. So to start with in Australia, as I said, our winter is their summer. So we're in summer months, they're in the winter months, and vice versa. So the first place that I kind of put it into 4 places that you could go to during the summer, our summer months. And they're the 4 most important parts, 3 of the most important parts of Australia, and then 1 other part. But the first part that I think is super important that everyone must see is the Great Barrier Reef. So the Great Barrier Reef is the biggest living structure, but it's also one of the most breathtaking structures I've ever seen. I scuba dived there. I learned to scuba dive there, or tried to scuba dive there. I wasn't that successful, and which is hard to not be that successful. At least I'm alive. But I also snorkeled a lot there, and it was amazing. And if you visit this part during the summer, it's actually the peak part of the season is during our summer, is in the Great Barrier Reef. This is their dry season. You see blue skies. It's perfect temperature, low humidity. The temperature is around 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 to 25 degrees, 24 to 29 degrees Celsius. Yeah. And the perk of this, so people don't realize, but because a lot of people go during December to February, but not only is the Great Barrier Reef the perfect temperature during this time, but they also have a really big jellyfish problem during the peak season. But during this time, during the summer, there's absolutely no jellyfish. So it makes it the safest time to go to the Great Barrier Reef anyway. So I am glad I went during the no jellyfish season. And that is a great time to go to the Great Barrier Reef and see it and snorkel and scuba dive. So that is the first place I would suggest to go, whether you go during the summer or winter, but it is a great time during both places. But it's also good to be jellyfish free, obviously. So the next place that people always hear of in Australia are the southern cities like Sydney and Melbourne. They are usually booming. That's what's usually booming the most in December to February, because they do get cold in the winter, and they do have like true crisp winters in June, July, and August, but they're not cold like what we're used to. We're used to even colder, but they're not even as cold as New Jersey. Temperature average about 46 to 63 degrees Fahrenheit, 8 to 17 degrees Celsius, and Melbourne's a little colder. I was actually in a city called Brisbane, and I'm just putting this in there. Not too many people know of it. It's the most beautiful city. I absolutely loved it. And I highly recommend people going to it. It's actually even warmer than Sydney or Melbourne, so it's a little bit warmer. The perk of going during the summer for this is that there aren't as many tourists there. So it could get very touristy during these winter months, and during the summer months, you could actually do everything. You could go to all the famous indoor coffee shops in Melbourne. You could see the Opera House at Sydney without waiting in a huge line. And you could go see an Australian Rules football game.
Beautiful.
So that is what I would suggest going to. The cities are amazing. It does get a little cold. I don't know why 20 years ago when I went, I did not Google. They did have Google 20 years ago, and I did not Google the temperature. So I am very book smart, but I came without winter clothes to Australia in the middle of the summer. It was Australia.
Yep.
You have true winters there, just not as cold, but I did have to buy a lot of stuff when I got to Australia.
Doesn't it rain a lot too, kind of? Or did they have a lot of rain as well?
They do have rain. Yeah, some of it's very rainy, and so parts of it could be very rainy, and parts of it could be. Brisbane was beautiful, but parts of it could be very rainy. Yeah.
Okay, so which is fine, as long as you're prepared for it, right? There's no bad weather. There's only the wrong gear. That's what I'm going to tell you.
That's true.
It. That
is true.
So as long as you're prepared for it.
Yes.
People
are
think it is
hot all the time. That was my perception. Yes, it's not. So the next place that everyone has to go to when they go to Australia, which is what a lot of people think of, is the Outback. I already discussed on here how I slept in the Outback for 8 nights without a tent. I wouldn't suggest doing that.
And then I brought up Wolf Creek, and I said, have you ever seen Wolf Creek? I think I brought that up. If I didn't, I wanted to.
Yes. Yeah. So Yes, the Outback Steakhouse. It's just like that. So it was the desert temperature swing very much though. So a lot of people like actually going during the summer months, very popular to not have the 100-degree weather.
Right.
So I actually went to the Outback when it was pretty hot, and I stayed outside when it was pretty hot, and I hiked in 105-degree weather. I would not suggest that. I don't mind
I wouldn't suggest that anywhere.
You just said that there can only be the good gear. You can't get good gear for that. Like, it's not the wrong, this might be the wrong temperature, but I did it and I survived. And they said if it was maybe 5 degrees hotter, they wouldn't have even let us gone, but they let us go. But if you go during the summer months, it's not that 100 degrees. It's between 68 and 72 degrees, which is amazing. Right. And at night though,
way better.
So it gets freeze. 0
okay.
degrees Celsius. Sorry, 30 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius.
That's
in the
bad.
Nighttime. Yeah. You bring a jacket.
I hike at night around here.
That gear you can prepare for, yeah.
I hike at night here and it's 9 degrees or whatever. No big deal. You warm right up. As soon as you stop moving, you're fine. Yeah.
Exactly. So the perk of going in the summer is you could do the hiking that I did and not have 105-degree weather. You have 72-degree weather, which is perfect.
Perfect.
And although it gets really cold at night, so I wouldn't suggest doing what I did then and going without a tent. But if you are prepared, then it could be beautiful around then.
Yep.
And then the last place, which, everyone assumes, as we just said, Australia is hot. There actually is like what they call the Australian Alps that you could go to. And there's actually...
No. Lilac, I think it's better to go when it's not cold in the States. I think that's what she's saying. Right?
Yeah, it's good to go both.
I'm
saying like a good reason to go during the summer, but yes, most people do go when it's cold here because it's hot there.
But really, they should go when it's hot here.
It's good to go during our summer.
Right.
And why various places are good during the summer. But it's good to go both. I would always suggest people go either way. But yeah, so there's this place. Many people are surprised to learn that Australia even has like a thriving ski season. You could go during our summer if you want to ski. You head into the mountains between Sydney and Melbourne during July or August, and you find snow-covered peaks and all the traditional winter sports. Yep. And you could do anything you want. So it is amazing anytime you go. But a lot of people think of it as a place to go during our traditional winter. And I just wanted to explain why it could be a good place to go during our summer too. But either way, it is an amazing place to go. And I highly recommend everyone going there.
Very awesome. So I've seen some of the insects there, and I've thought, I don't think I can handle that. That's really what I would have a problem with. But my favorite thing to do is go anywhere that's a good destination off season. That's my favorite thing. Yeah. So I want to experience all of it, but I don't like the crowds and I don't like the tourists. All that kind of stuff is why I don't go to a lot of places when they're in peak, because I don't like any of that. So that's perfect for me. That would be perfect for me. And to get out of the heat, because honestly, I don't like it being hot, even in New England. I can't stand this weather. Like, I like it. I like fall, spring. That's my favorite thing. So
me too. I like fall, spring the best. Yeah.
That'd be good for me to get in on a plane and go to Australia on, hot day. But anyway, but that's awesome. That's good. So we got some stuff. So we did have 2 ads to run, and one of them we need to continue. We haven't done it. So let's do it now. We're going to get one more ad in. Here we go.
Sometimes you can feel lost in the forest of your mind, caught up in mistakes you can't change, looking ahead, uncertain what comes next, questioning if things will ever get easier, and if you've missed your chance. But the fact is that every moment is a new chance to change and choose a new direction. The fastest way to stop the pain and gain the new insight needed is through guidance from someone who has walked the path before you that can teach you to find your own answers from within. If any of this sounds familiar and you're looking for a way through, from where you are to where you long to be, then let's connect. Check out soulspectivesinstitute.com today and book your discovery call, and we can see where we can go from there.
Here at Rhode Island Broadcasting and Going On Daily, we're proud to announce that we are collecting donations for our Uganda Fund. My name is Becky, and I've been one of the hosts here at Going On Daily since day one. And earlier this year, I was blessed with the opportunity to travel to Uganda, and it was honestly one of the most life-changing experiences. I met people who completely changed the way I see the world. I met families who had endured unimaginable tragedies, including these two families who lost young children to a witch doctor. I met children who hadn't eaten in days. We even saw 11 children share a single apple because it's all we had left to give them. I met children who fled war in neighboring countries only to find themselves homeless and living on the streets. I saw heartbreak, poverty, and desperation. But what I also saw was joy, the happiness that a single piece of candy, a bracelet, or a small act of kindness could bring was enough to bring tears to my eyes. These are people who have so little, and yet they have more gratitude and joy than many of us could even imagine. We know that there are people who need help in our own communities, and we continue to support local initiatives whenever we can. But this year, our hearts are with Uganda. In partnership with Love Made a Way, 100% of every donation will go directly to initiatives in Uganda. No hidden fees, no deductions. Every dollar goes to help providing food, clean water, education, medical care, safe buildings, sanitation improvements, schools, vocational training, and hope. $1 is worth roughly 3,700 Ugandan shillings, so even a small donation can make a meaningful impact. Maybe it's giving up your Starbucks or your Timmy's today. Whatever you feel led to give, please know that it will help change lives. Thank you for your support, your generosity, and for helping us bring hope to the people of Uganda. Visit www.RhodeIslandBroadcasting.net/Uganda-donations to help out.
All right, there you go. There's Uganda. Make sure that you check our website out. We do have a page for that there. Anything you can donate, make sure you go through your. I say this: go through your couch cushions, find your change.
Any donation helps.
$1, $2, whatever you have, is definitely worth it. And that was for Becky. That was Becky. So we are, and we also wanted to make sure we got our other little ad in there that we couldn't get in earlier. But the next thing that I'm going to talk about is just basically our destinations in Rhode Island that are swamped in the summer, and that I avoid. But anyway, unless I have
just
to.
making that.
Yeah. I do love these places, but I do go to these places off season, which is anywhere between April and earlier, or September and later. But these places are great, and if you want to go to either one of these places, you probably want to book a year in advance, because this is crazy. First one is Newport, Rhode Island. And Newport, wherever you are, you've probably heard of Newport, Rhode Island. And is where the elite go, and it's where everybody drives their boat to. And they've got a million hotels out in Newport, and there's all kinds of stuff going on. We got the jazz festival, all these things. Anyway, we've got 3 identities here that work together. We've got America's historic summer playground for the wealthy. We've got a world famous sailing center here. And we've got a walkable coastal town. We got restaurants, we got shops, we got bars and beaches. We really, honestly, we have some of the best food anywhere.
We do.
We really do. The result is the destination. We can tour a mansion in the morning. You can relax on the beach in the afternoon, and you can enjoy waterfront dining at night. So there's all kinds of different things you can do in one day. It's crazy. You're not going to get actually everything done in Newport. If you come here for a week, you're not going to get to everything you want to do. That's how much stuff is happening. But it's crazy. So we've got the Cliff Walk. This is one of our signature attractions up here. The Cliff Walk is like where you're walking along the coastline.
Yeah.
You're going behind the mansions. And there's dramatic ocean views with some of the most impressive homes in America. Like if you've ever done the mansion tour around here, you'll know what I mean.
It's amazing.
It is. It's crazy. It goes back to, it's the old Vanderbilt and the Astors and it's the old, wealth of the, 1880s and 1850s. And these are the houses from that, the second homes from people that had New York mansions. And so we can tour the mansions as well. The grand estates built by families, like I said, Vanderbilt, Astors. I'm trying to think. There's another family that I'm trying to think of that I can't think of right now. But there's the Breakers. There's the Marble House. There's Rose Cliff. There's a bunch of houses where you can kind of walk through and see how they lived. They have all of it preserved, and they'll tell you the stories of who it's actually pretty cool. If you go through and look at it all, it's Gilded Age stuff. If you've ever watched Gilded Age on HBO, a lot of the filming is in Newport, Rhode Island. They go into the houses and film there. So you'll get an idea kind of what it was like at that time for a period piece. You can enjoy the waterfront, right? Newport Harbors, it's got sailboats, yachts. Rockefeller is one of the people that I was thinking of. Yeah, that's one of them. Fishing boats, historic vessels, right? They've got a lot. If you're into any kind of sailing or big boats or anything having to do with water, there's a ton of stuff to like look at tourism wise. And we have a lot of sailing in general in Newport that people do. And so we've got the harbor area around Bowen's Wharf and Thames Street. That's packed with restaurants, shops, people watching opportunities, right? You can sit somewhere and watch people for like 5 hours walking around. It's insane. You can hit the beaches there, right? We've got Easton's Beach. We've got Gooseberry Beach, and we've got Satuous Beach, which we call Second Beach. That's for what we grew up going to Second Beach most of our lives, and we don't call it Satuous, we call it Second. They're generally easier to access than Block Island's beaches, of course. And I'll get to Block Island next. And they fit well into a broader sightseeing day, right? So if you're going to go from beach to beach to beach, Newport's the place to do it. It's often called the sailing capital of the United States. Also, Newport is where the Tennis Hall of Fame is.
Yes.
We got a lot of tennis.
I was wondering if you were getting into that.
And when we do in the summer, basically tennis is on in the summer. What is it? For like 2 weeks sometimes.
Yeah.
And basically, that's all. They're all people that come out of or work at our tennis set or Newport tennis, whatever the heck it is. It's funny. I'm trying to make sure I get it all in. So of course I don't have it off the top of my head. But yeah, our Tennis Hall of Fame is where, and I miss playing tennis too, Hugo. I'm getting myself one of those automatic ball throwers.
I'm a huge tennis player. I played college tennis actually, so I still.
Well, come up here and let's do it because.
Okay.
My problem is I like tennis, but I don't like I want to just play. I don't want to get together with somebody and do schedules. And I actually want a retaining wall. That's what I want. I want a training wall. That's it. I want to hit off a training wall and go home. Because I like the access. I like the running around part. Not interested in games.
Yeah, that's me
either. And scoring and points is not really my thing. I just want to run and hit. But anyway, so yeah, we've got all of that. And then, Newport is ideal for couples. If you have out of a breakup, it's probably not the best place for you to be. There's a lot of that. People that love history. We've got one of the first restaurants in the U.S. We've got the White Horse Tavern out there. That's like the first restaurant ever, and I drive by that. I don't know how many times a year, and it's still operating, and it still has some of the best food ever. So look it up, the White Horse Tavern. You've got people that like are in foodie mode and want to walk around and eat different types of food. I mean, I can't even tell you how much food there is in Newport. It's amazing. If you're into sailing, if you're a weekend traveler, you just want to kind of go somewhere for the weekend and you live in the New England area, it's a real good destination. Like I said, though, in the middle of summer, you're going to have to book ahead. You're not going to drive into Newport on a whim on the weekend and get anything done because everybody is here at the same time and it's crazy. And visitors who like having lots of options, Newport is good for that because there's just so much to do. Like I can't even the stuff I mentioned is not everything. The reality check, summer traffic is heavy, parking's frustrating, hotel prices are among the highest in the Rhode Island, and especially during peak season, which is like Memorial Day to Labor Day. That's pretty much where it's most expensive and it's most crowded and it's harder to get there. It can also feel crowded on July and August weekends. July 4th don't even go to Newport on July 4th and don't go anywhere near Bristol, anywhere near Bristol on July 4th, because that's where the 4th of July parade is. And that's the traditional one for the country. Mm-hmm. And Bristol is insanity. If you ever want to see that parade, you better get there like 2 days in advance and you better know somebody that lives on the route and park your car there and, get up in the morning and sit on the porch. Otherwise you're not going to see that because that's how crazy. So yeah. That's all your stuff for Newport. And then I want to talk about Block Island because Block Island is a very big destination, mostly for people who have boats. And it's the same kind of thing where it's crazy, except you have that extra added, you've got to get on a ferry to get there. And between May and September, the ferries are just off the charts. And if you want to go to Block Island for a week, you have to book like 2029 right now, I think. Like you can't, you have to know somebody that lives there. Or you have to be going over there for a job or something where they kind of put you up for the night. Otherwise, you're going to be sleeping on the beach because there's nowhere to go. Black Island is one of New England's classic summer destinations. It feels like a genuine island, and it is, without like requiring a flight, right? You can take a ferry, you leave the mainland behind, you arrive somewhere that's more focused on beaches and nature and small town charm than resorts. So it's a really cool place to go. There's a ton of hiking. There's a lot of great beaches. It's the same kind of thing. I don't know if there's a lot of like upscale housing there, but it's very, I can't explain it. It's very shanty-like in the sense that, and it's provincial, right? And so underdeveloped and unprotected is how the land is. That's a lot of how the island is. So it's not overly like developed and off the charts. It is touristy, but it's still got a lot of like greenery, green space. And, it just looks like, it kind of takes you back to the 50s in a way. As far as like how it looks, it's very quaint and all that kind of stuff. So, you'll find rolling hills, coastal bluffs, beaches, hiking trails, historic buildings, right? The place is noticeably slower than many summer vacation spots, so people are kind of relaxed over there on the island. A lot of, bikes as opposed to cars. There are cars there, but people are biking and they're on little motorbikes and things like that. The dramatic clay cliffs on the island south shore, that's the signature view, right? And nearby is the like a southeast historic lighthouse overlooking the Atlantic. We have a lot of lighthouses. And it's something I don't think of because I'm here all the time. But most people that like buy paintings that put in their house, it's like somebody that came to New England and found a lighthouse and painted it. It's like an amazing sight for somebody who doesn't see lighthouses every day. Popular choices, there's Crescent Beach for easy access and classic beach time. There's Mansion Beach for a quieter experience. And there's the beach below Mohegan Bluffs. If you get a chance to check out Mohegan Bluffs, there's a very, very cool staircase that goes all the way up. And if you stand at the top of it, it looks like you're going to fall down the stairs and die. But it's actually a really cool staircase to come down, and it's a beautiful view. You can rent a bike there. You come off the ferry, the bikes are right there to rent if you need them. A lot of people don't want a car because it's a very small island and it's easier to take like motorbikes or whatever around, and your car is going to cost an arm and a leg if you put it on a ferry as well. If you're in Seattle, you probably know that same thing. It's expensive. Walk around Old Harbor, right? That's the main village with seafood restaurants. We got shops, ice cream, inns, ferry arrivals, and all that. And there's like little doggy stores and little t-shirt stores and things like that. You can kind of walk around and look at stuff. Explore nature. We got Rodman's Hollow for hiking. We got wildlife viewing at some of the island's most beautiful landscapes. And I have a Facebook page I follow on Block Island, and no word of a lie, sometimes they're like, whose cow got loose? Oh, that's Henry's cow. Well, Henry's cow is running down Main Street. Like, this is the kind of stuff I see, which is really funny. Like somebody's livestock got loose. It's running around on Rock Island, and everybody's trying to get it back to their owner. It's just funny. Anyway, couples, same thing. Will enjoy this. Families are really going to be big for this. Beach lovers. If you're into cycling, it's a really good. There's some serious hills and stuff. If you like really good, like strenuous, biking, and you want to get on a 10-speed, it'll kill you, but it'll be worth it. Hikers, love it there. People looking to slow down and get away from the city. That's the place to go. And again, if you're looking for luxury resorts or major like nightlife or all that kind of stuff, like a really urban city, you're not going to find any of that there. But summer weekends are crowded and accommodations are expensive. That's all I'm going to say. And I mean, between June and September, it's ridiculous. And you cannot get a room for the same year you want to go, if that's how you want to do it. As a matter of fact, sometimes at the end of the previous year, people are trying to book ferry rides and get their cars on. And you either have to book almost like, I don't know, a year in advance to get your car and everything on a ferry for a week. For hopefully you get a hotel room the same week. But you also have like a overcrowded, you have it's almost like you go there in the morning and you hope you can get on. Sometimes you can get on the same day, but you have to go sit there and hope there's a spot, and you might get there, but you might not. You might just sit there all day and then go home. It's one of those things. So anyway, plan ahead. So think of it a place where, you can have beaches, biking, bluffs, seafood, sunsets. If any of that sounds appealing to you, it's like really one of the best day trips for you. That's really the way to do it if you live here, is just get on the ferry. We have it out of Connecticut and out of Rhode Island. And I don't know if there's I don't know if Massachusetts might have a boat going back and forth to Block Island. I'm not sure. But you go for the day. You bring some stuff, bring gear and whatever, and go eat in a restaurant or walk around or whatever. Just pack it up and just walk it. And that's probably the quickest way to go for the day, and then get back off the ferry and go home. So that's Block Island for you.
Sounds awesome.
That's it. So summer destinations, we're wrapping that up. So at this point, where are we? We are making sure that we let you know that tomorrow morning Kenny and Ron are on tomorrow at 10 a.m. So don't miss that. That's always entertaining.
Absolutely.
We got to thank WDJY for having us on the air, because that's pretty cool. And we got to thank Mace Fitness and Soul Perspectives Institute. Yay, I said it.
You said it great.
Where, Laura, can we find you if we're looking for you? And I don't think I have you on Facebook. I have to add you.
I know, we have to be friends on Facebook.
Definitely.
Laura Schiller 257 on Instagram, and I'm trying to learn Snapchat and TikTok better. Where can we find you?
So you can find me right now. You can find me at DJ Lana. Okay, let me slow down. DJ Lana Williams on Facebook on my personal page. This Facebook at DJ Lana. This is my DJ page. If you find me there, you could probably find everything else from there. And then Lana DJ Williams on Instagram, and Lana Lee Williams 8668 on YouTube. And that's where to find me. And again, I just wanted to say, yes, our podcast is finished. It is produced. I have to now review it and discuss it with the person who edited it, but it is actually done. So awesome. Again, we're getting there. We're getting there. The only reason it's taking so long is because I work with an audio video guy, and we like to make sure every little detail is perfect. So, but once it's done, it's done. And then once we have a template, we'll be moving a lot faster with the rest of them. So
that's so exciting.
We'll see that soon. But hopefully you guys have a rest of your good day. It is Saturday or Wednesday or whatever day it is where you are, if you're listening to us as opposed to watching us. That's it. I think we
have
wrapped
a great
it up.
day wherever you are.
We're all good here. Time to spare. Absolutely. You guys have a great day. Thanks for hanging with Going On Daily. Bye-bye.